on Bruchim Haboim. So finish Hanukkah, back to business as usual. It's good to be back. Huh? I don't think so. No, not today. Not today. Well, hopefully we'll start on Wednesday. So we finished celebrating the miracles of Hanukkah. And here we're celebrating also the miracles of the 2-week war, whatever that was that happened, 2-year war. Crazy miracles going on over here. Anyway, so we're on Chav Ches Amud Beis in the Mishnah. It's about 7 lines down in the Gemara, in the wide lines of the Gemara. Reb Chaim ben Akana, are you mispalel b'knisasi l'beis hamedrash? Reb Chaim ben Akana, he would say a prayer when he came into the Beis Medrash, when he started learning Torah, as opposed to the Beis Knesses, which is a shul, right? And he said something when he left. Tefillah Ketzara, he said a short prayer. So Amrullah, they said to him, Ma makom letefillah zu. Rashi explains, Ma makom doesn't mean what's the place, literally, of this prayer. It means mativai. What's going on over here? What type of prayer are you saying? So Amalem, he said to them, Bichnisasi ani mispalel, when I walk into the Beis Knesses, into the shul, I pray Shelo Yarav Kol Yodi. I make a prayer that I shouldn't falter, I shouldn't make any errors. I shouldn't err. When I leave, I thank Hashem. Huh? Chav Ches 28b. Good morning. In the Mishnah. So when he walked in, it wasn't really 2 prayers. It looked like you said 2 prayers, but really one was prayer and one was thanks. The Achronim discuss why is this Mishnah, what's it doing over here? What does the prayer of Nechuni ben Akana have to do with, till now we speak about it, but it's Krishma, Tefillah. So some say, because it's a prayer, so we're going to talk about other prayers that you say. This is the next prayer, after you finish davening, this is the next prayer. When you walk into shul, you got to pray that you shouldn't make mistakes when you're learning. Others say that since when you leave shul, you're supposed to go straight away and start learning Torah before you go to work. So this is the prayer you say before, once you leave shul, you go to Beis Medrash to start learning Torah. This is the prayer. Others make a diak in the Mishnah. He says, "Ma mokem letefillah zu." What place is this? They understand the person prays, but why is he praying by the door? Go into shul and pray. So that was what was bothering them. People pray all the time. But they saw you standing outside the shul or in the doorway praying. So they said, why are you standing? Mamakom, what's going on? Why are you praying here? So that's what he told them. Tana Rabbanan, let's see the Gemara. Tana Rabbanan, B'knisasai Ma, what does he say when he walks into shul? Omer, you say, the Medaik, that doesn't say Omar, he said. Omer means you say. In other words, we should say this also. What you say, may find favor in your eyes, Hashem Alekai, Hashem my God, that I shouldn't make any errors. Or someone to say means that through my actions, through my learning, it shouldn't create, there should be no repercussions of any takol, of any failure, of any mishap. In other words, and I shouldn't make mistakes when it comes to the halacha, the law. My friend shouldn't rejoice in me. Rashi, the pashtus, the basic explanation means I shouldn't go ahead and say something stupid, make a mistake, and my friends all going to have a blast, all going to laugh, scold me, laugh at me. Others say, no, you're reading it wrong. You put the comma in the wrong place. You're saying like this, I shouldn't make a mistake. Meaning my friend should be happy with me that I got it right. Because there's no simcha like the simcha of Torah. That's what's enjoyable in life, is learning Torah. What a simcha is when someone says a good pshat. So my friends, not that they shouldn't. The lie isn't going on that they shouldn't be happy. It means they should be happy. My friends should rejoice in my Torah. Two different pshatim. One very negative and one very positive. I'm not sure what you should be mechaven. But always be positive. My friend should rejoice. Now, there's the whole point of Torah of a hariv noy. It's supposed to be geschmack. It's supposed to be enjoyable. That's the truas mitzvah. That's the way the Torah is given. That's supposed to be the most enjoyable thing in the world. If this Shem b'simcha, exactly. So v'loy oimer, and I shouldn't say al tomei Torah v'lo Torah tomei. I shouldn't error when it comes to tumah and Torah. I shouldn't take it the wrong way. Not l'chumra and not l'kula. V'loy kashel b'chaveirai. My friend shouldn't error b'dvar halacha. They shouldn't error v'esmach b'hem, and I should be rejoicing them. So either again, it means I shouldn't be happy in their failure, or I should be happy when they get it right. So that's what Philly said when he walked into the Beis HaMedrash. And when he leaves the Beis HaMedrash, what should he say? I'm grateful to you, Hashem, Elokai, Shesam Techelki Mi'eshe Beis HaMedrash. You put my lot with those that sit in the shul, sit in the Beis HaMedrash, the Lon Torah. You didn't put my lot with the people that sit on the corners. In those days, even nowadays, you have places guys sit in the corner and they gamble. Why? I don't know why he's comparing himself only to the people that sit in the corners and do nothing all day. But we both get up in the morning. I get up to study Torah, and they get up to waste their time. I work and they work. I work and I get rewarded. They work and they do not get rewarded. I run and they run. I'm running towards heaven. I'm running towards the ultimate joy, the ultimate simcha. No one can imagine the joy of heaven. And they're running to destruction, to nothingness. So there's a few questions that they ask over here on this thanks that he gave. First of all, ask the Chasam Sofer, what do you mean? Ani omel v'hem amelim. Ani omel v'kabescha v'hem amelim kabescha. They work and they don't get rewarded. Well, most people work and they do get schar. You might not get schar in Olam Haba, but they get rewarded in this world. They go, they get a job, and they get paid. So why are you saying I work and I'm going to get schar? They work, they don't get schar. So the Pashup Pshat obviously means that I'm going to get rewarded in the next world. But it's not like they're not getting rewarded. It says a Chasam Sofer, it means like this. For Torah, the schar you get is based on the amount of work you put in. You get rewarded for trying. If you come to the Beis HaMedrash, you come to the share, you try and understand what the Gemara says. The schar you get is for the try, for the effort you put in. But if you go to work, you try and make a pair of shoes to sell, and you botch up the job, you don't get rewarded. You can't sell the shoes. No one's going to pay you for the effort. You get paid for the work you do, for achieving, right? So therefore, by definition, when a person's working, any job you do, you're not happy about the job because you wish you could get the shoes without having to work. And when you're working, it might not work. You're working hard. You're putting in the effort. You might not be able to sell it. You might not make a profit on this business deal. So there's always lacking some type of enjoyment from the work you do. But when you study Torah, the enjoyment is tied in with the effort. As soon as you're putting effort in, that I'm getting rewarded for it. There's no effort is wasted. Whereas when you work, the effort could be wasted. That's how the Chasam Sofer understands this Nakuda. Another thing that he explained is, what does it mean? He says, I'm running towards Olam Haba, and they're running for Ber Shachas. What do you mean? He just said, I'm going to get rewarded. Why are you saying again, I'm running for Olam Haba? It's kind of repetitive, right? So the answer, no. Talmud Rabbeinu Yonah says, what it means is that Olam Haba is when I contemplate the fact that I'm running towards Olam Haba, that's what makes me learn Torah. In other words, he's not saying I'm going to get rewarded and get Olam Haba. He's saying I'm contemplating the fact that I'm on my way. I'm running towards Olam Haba. This world is not forever. This world is temporary. I'm running towards that. That's how he explains this this Haidah. Tana Rabbana. Kashchala Rebbe Lezer, nichnasu Talmidav Levakrai. When Rebbe Lezer was sick, his Talmidah came in to visit him. Amullah Rabbeinu, our master, Lamdeinu Orchos Chaim, teach us the ways of the life. V'nizke b'hen l'chaya olam haba. We should be zeicha to olam haba. Now, I saw some Achronim want to know why they so busy trying to know the ways to olam haba. The Tzlach, he asked why they want to know olam haba, so he gives a bunch of terutzim. I think the question, according to Rambam at least, isn't a good kasha. A person has to, even though you're supposed to learn Torah l'shem shemayim, for heaven's sake, you're not learning Torah, you don't do mitzvahs in order for it to get reward. But the Rambam brings in Hilchos, I think it's Hilchos Tshuva, Kama David v'sav l'chaya olam haba. David HaMelech was yearning for olam haba. Why? Because olam haba is, we're going to see, tzadikim yeshivs v'nenim eziv hashchina. Olam haba is enjoying the shchina, sitting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why they wanted olam haba. It's not some selfish, gashmistika thing. They want olam haba. They want to see the shchina, which is a roy. That's a valued moral to have. Okay, so what did he say to them? He said to them three things. Be careful with the honor of your friends. And don't let your children study Higayon. Seems to be a machlekes if that means. Rashi says Torah b'chsav. They shouldn't spend too much time reading Torah b'chsav. They should get more into Torah b'al peh. Don't learn the psukim b'al peh too much. Study the Talmud. Others say Higayon comes from the word philosophy maybe, or stories of kings. There's a whole bunch of different pshat in what this means. Higayon. V'shivim ben birchei Talmid Chachamim. Put your children with the Talmid Chachamim, with the rabbis. They should learn Torah. When you pray, you should know famous thing, it says on many shuls over there in the Kodesh, know before who you are standing. So the Achronim say that this is saying these three things. Keneged shloisha amud yomi, Torah, avoda, gemorah chasadim. Torah tells them how to teach their kids Torah, keep them away from the bad stuff, teach them the good stuff. Tefillah is dalef ne'miyat ha'moimdim, and the first thing he said was, Gemorah chasadim is, what's the ultimate way to take care of Gemorah chasadim? What's the ultimate chesed? Treating with honor your friends. That's the main nekuda here. The person should be focused on. Hizar b'chvoidechem. Don't disrespect them. Some go ahead and say, you know why this is very important for olam haba, is because if someone learns Torah, lekanter, someone's learning Torah in order to bash other people, he doesn't get olam haba from it. We don't say it's shloish v'bolishma. But if he's learning for kavod, he wants a bit of schar. So on that, Chazal says shloish v'bolishma. So they want to say that if you treat your friends with respect, so they'll learn for the kavod. At least they'll be learning for the kavod. They'll end up becoming shloish v'bolishma. They'll get olam haba through it. But if you don't treat them with respect, then they're going to try and bash you with the Torah, and then they're not going to become from that to lishma. It's an interesting cheshbon. So it says the Gemara, back in the Gemara, and through these three things you're going to merit eternal bliss. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was sick. Famous Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So Nichnas is Talmidav Levakrai. His Talmidah came in. Kivin Shara, Isa, Mizcha Livkais. He saw his Talmidim, he saw his students, he started crying. Amar Talmidav, his student said to him, Ner Yisrael, the light of Israel. Omer Daimini, the right pillar. Patish HaChazak, the strong hammer. Mipnei Ma'ata Boicha. So what are these three terminologies they use? Ner Yisrael, they say it's connected the fact that also Torah, V'ed Gemorah Chasadim. Patish HaChazak, the strong hammer is the Torah, that you have to use your brain to bash the Torah to understand it. Amud Yomi is like the tefillah, like the Amida, you stand up. Or let's connect chesed. Yamin is chesed. I don't know, well, you can understand it both ways. Now Yisrael, the light of Yisrael, because he was the one that saved Klal Yisrael. He saved Torah for Yisrael. The story goes, and it's important for the next part of the Gemara, that Asasfranus, he liked Reb Chaim ben Zakkai. He said, I'll give you whatever you want. And he said, he could have maybe asked to save the base of English from destruction. He asked to save the Chachamim, the Chacham Yisrael. So he saved all the Talmud Chachamim in Yavne. So they said to him, why are you crying? So Amalem, he said to the listeners, if they're going to drag me in front of a human king, today he's alive, tomorrow he might be dead, right? So they drag you in front of the king. What are you so scared? Maybe he's going to die before you. Maybe he won't carry out whatever he decrees, right? He hasn't got a guarantee on his life. Maybe the guy who rules after him will give you a pardon, right? Even if this king doesn't like you, there's someone that comes after him. So there's a 50% chance you'll outlive the guy, right? If he's angry with me, the human king isn't angry forever. He can't lock me up forever either. He could try, but it's not necessarily eternal. If he kills me, if he kills me, it's only a temporary death in this world. And guess what? I could try to take my way out of being punished by the king. I could try and mimify him. I could try and kiss up to him, whatever the word is. I could try and bribe him with money or with compliments. Even so, if I be dragged in front of a human king for punishment for a court case, I would cry. Even though it's not temporary, it's not permanent, I could bribe him, I could blackmail him, I could kiss up to him. Now that they're dragging me, I'm being taken in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the King of the world. He's eternal. He's eternal. Forever and ever and ever. If he's angry with me, it's eternal anger. And if he locks me up, it's going to be eternal. The Rishonim explain that it means for a year, because Gehenna is only for a year normally. If he kills me, it could be eternal. And I can't appease him with words. And I can't blackmail him with money. You can't pay off Hashem to leave you alone. Okay, that's the first part. Besides that, there's something else. There's two paths in front of me. I don't know where I'm going. There's a road to heaven and a road to hell. I don't know where I'm going. This is the greatest of people, the greatest of the Tanaim, that said, I don't know which way I'm going. Obviously, they explain what it means is that he doesn't know if he's going to have to pass through Gehenna to make a stop off. Maybe there's a gemorah he has to pass by. The gemorah says to pick up other people on the way to Gan Eden. But either way, it's not fun even to be there for a second, obviously. So he's scared. He's petrified. I'm not going to cry. So one thing they ask over is, he says, you can't bribe HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You can't bribe Hashem. You can't be mefayis with dvarim. Sure you can. You give tzedakah. It's going to help you. Tzedakah tatzal mimavus. We say tzedakah, charity, saves you from death, right? So why can't you be mefayis HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'dvarim or b'mammon? You can pray. You can ask for forgiveness. What's he saying over here? So some say what it means is that tzedakah tatzal mimavus means in this world. If you give money in this world, you could be saved. But ultimately, in the world to come, if you sinned, it's going to have to be clean. That dirty slate has to be wiped clean. And there's no HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he doesn't say you did a mitzvah, you did an aveira, I'll cancel one out for the other one. The mitzvah is a mitzvah you get schar for, and aveira, a person has to face his aveiras. Of course you could do tshuva and your aveiras are wiped clean. Anyone could just say, Hashem, forgive me, I've sinned. If you mean it with a whole heart, you're forgiven. But you can't bribe him as far as the next world goes. That's the first pshat I've seen. Okay. So they said to Reb Chaim and Zakkai, Now, one thing they ask of is, why was Reb Chaim Zakai not sure where he's going? Here he's a Gadol, he's the greatest rabbi ever, or one of the greatest Talmidim of. Right. So why does he not know where he's going? So some say it's because he thought maybe he should have saved the Beis Hamikdash instead of saving the Chachamim. That was his chash. Maybe he should have saved the Beis Hamikdash instead of the Chachamim. Others don't say that at all, but it's just it was coming from Anivus. He wanted to teach his Talmidim, Anivus, you should never be sure about yourself. You should never be too sure. That's why he was saying it. He didn't actually, and we're going to see soon in the Gemorah, that it's quite clear that he didn't actually think that he was one of the bad guys. He knew he was one of the good guys, and he's going to heaven. We'll see in a second why. So they said to him, Amalei Rabbeinu, Barcheinu, give us a blessing. Give us a bracha. This old rabbi is about to pass away. They said, give me a bracha. Amalehem, he said to them, you know what the bracha is? Yiratzain. Shtei meir shamayim aleichem kumeir basav adam. You should fear heaven like you fear people. Now, it's interesting, it's a question, because the Gemara says the fear of heaven doesn't come from heaven, doesn't come from God. Fear of heaven is totally in b'chira chavshis. So what they mean is he was giving them mercy. He said you should. He wasn't actually giving them a bracha. He was telling them this is what your aspiration should be. That's all you're giving us, a bracha. We should fear heaven like people. We should fear heaven much more than we fear people. So Amalehem, he said to them, Velavai Teidu, Halavai, you should fear heaven like you fear people. You should know that. Kishadam Aiva Vera, person sins, what does he say? He looks around, I hope no one sees me. He's about to do something wrong, he makes sure no one can see him. But he knows heaven's looking at him. So if you feared heaven like you feared person, you'd never sin. That's what he's saying. Omalem, okay. Shas p'tirasai, Omalahem, p'nu kelim mipnei atuma. Before he passed away, he said, remove the kelim because of the tumah. V'chinu kisei, prepare a chair. Who should you prepare the chair for? The Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda Shabbat. Prepare a chair for Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, the great king Chizkiyahu. What the Novi says, he was the greatest tzaddikim, the greatest king that ever lived. So here, Yochanan ben Zakkai said, prepare a chair for Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. He's coming from heaven to bring me up to Shemaim. Some say it's because he was going to the same place in heaven as Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. The Gemara says, the third level in heaven. So he said, prepare. I'm being taken to Reb Chaim ben Zakkai. He's going to come and bring me there. Someone brings him. He doesn't have to make his own way up. So he saw already Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda coming. He said, prepare a chair for him. Why Dafka Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda from all the great people in Tanakh? Why was Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda coming to the great Reb Chaim ben Zakkai? Because, Rishonim explain, because they both saved Torah. Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda also, he spread Torah to the whole of Klal Yisrael, that every single child knew at the age of 6 all the Hilchos Tumah Torah. And before that, there was nothing. Yiddishkeit was destroyed. The Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, he saved Torah in Klal Yisrael. Yochanan ben Zakkai also, he saved Torah in Klal Yisrael. Ten Yavdim v'Chachameh, through that he saved the Chachamim. He went to Asfas Yonas and he saved Torah. So that was his chus. He had a similar role as Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. Others throw in the fact that they were both the king. He was the king, Mamesh, and he was the Nasi. He was the leader of the generation. And they both had Kesed Torah and Kesed Malchus. The three Ksarim, Kuna, Torah, Malchus. They both had the Kesed of Torah and Malchus. They used their kingdom in order to spread Torah. Others say more practically that what he meant was not prepare a chair for Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. He was talking about his throne, his Nesias. Leave my chair, my kisei, my throne, leave it for Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. Meaning what? That he wasn't from the family of Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. He wasn't Ben Achaben of David HaMelech. Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, Rabbi Gamliel, they were from David HaMelech. When Rabbi Gamliel died, passed away, his child was too young to be the Nasi, so they gave it to Yochanan ben Zakkai. But he wasn't from the children of David, of Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. He said, now that he's passing away, the chair's going to, his chair, his kisei, his Nesias is going to go back to Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, that line to where it's supposed to be the line of David. Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Gamliel Eimer. Every day a person should daven 18 brachos. Shemona Esrei. B'shua Aimem Me'ein Shmoneh Esrei. B'shua says a part of Shmoneh Esrei, Me'ein, like Shmoneh Esrei. Rabbi Kiva Oimer Im Shkur Tfilas B'Piv Mispal Shmoneh Esrei V'Im Lav Mein Shmoneh Esrei. Rabbi Kiva says if you know how to pray the Shmoneh Esrei, the Amida, pray V'Im Lav Me'ein Shmoneh Esrei. You do Mein Shmoneh Esrei. So Rabbi Shua Oimer someone's going, sorry, I skipped the line here. Rebbe Lezer argues, it says, if you make your prayer repetitive, kva, something you do every day, like a burden, that's how they explain it. If you make your prayer into a burden, ain't tfilas tachnunim. His prayer is not tachnunim. Here, tachnunim means chen, from Lashon of chen, rotzon. Your prayer is not wanted in Shemayim. It's not accepted. A person's prayer should be with regesh, emotion. It shouldn't come like a burden to you. I think the Shulchan Aruch says it should be like a ani, like you should feel like a poor person knocking on the door of a ashir, asking, tachnunim. If a person prays b'kfa, you're not yetz tefillah. That's how the Shulchan Aruch paskins, and you have to daven again. I don't think anyone's chaylik on this. Even b'zman hazeh, if you daven b'derech kva, you're not yetz. Rabbi Yeshua Aimer, ha'hoylech b'mokem sakana mispalel tefillah k'tzara. If someone's going somewhere dangerous, you should do tefillah k'tzara. Don't do the long Shmoneh Esrei. It's too dangerous. V'aimer, what should you say? Asher samecha, Asher Yisrael, b'chol parsha ze'ibu shehayu, yiyu. Tzarchem lefanecha, baruch atah Hashem shemei tefillah. That's what you should say. Very short tefillah, one line. Baruch atah Hashem shemei tefillah. Hayoreicha v'chamar, if a guy's riding a donkey, what should you do? Yerid l'spal, get off and daven. If you can't come down from the donkey, what should you do? Yachzir panav, turn your face towards the base of Mikdash. If you can't turn your face, what should you do? You should, your heart should be aimed towards the Kodesh Kodashim. So your heart should always, in your mind, you should always be facing the Holy of Holies when you pray. You're on a boat ride, or in asada, the same thing. What's asada? Rashi uses the word rafsudais. Basically sounds like rafts. They used to tie a bunch of wood together and you have like a rafsuda. Others say that what they used to do, the Aruch says, when they went to war, they put the wood in the logs, shesi ve'erev, crisscross, tied them up so they could stand on it. It was better for milchama, for fighting. Others say if they wanted to transport these logs, they just tied the logs behind the boat and dragged it behind them. You don't have to put the logs in the boat. You just tied them all up together, tied them to the back of a boat, and they would go down the river or in the ocean, and the raft would be behind them. So if a guy's on this Rav Suda, what should he do? But you can't face Yerushalayim, you can't face the Kodesh Kodashim, but your heart should be facing Kodesh Kodashim. So we have two issues here. So we learn two things from this gemorah. First of all, you should physically face the base of Mikdash, Kodesh Kodashim, and if you can't, your heart should be lechaven keneged Kodesh Kodashim. At least in your heart, you should imagine the Kodesh Kodashim in front of you. You should be facing the Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies. So it says the gemorah, Hani Yud Ches. These 18 brachas that they were misaken to say. And by the way, we're passing like Rabbi Kiva that you're supposed to say 18 brachas, right? Not, well, we're going to see. 18 or 19, we're going to see. It used to be 18, became 19. Why do you passing like Rabbi Kiva? Because Allah is a Rabbi Kiva mechaveiroi, v'loi mechaveirav. Rabbi Kiva beats his friend and not his friends in halacha. And since his friends are both arguing with him and they don't agree with each other, so it's one against one against one. It's not one against two. So with halacha is we passing like Rabbi Kiva here b'pashtus. Democracy, we go with the Rav. Always go with the Rav. Even against the great Rabbi Kiva. Hi, I need to ask Keneged Miyama. Keneged Mi, why do you say 18 brachas? What's that? Why 18? This is like a rather random number. Amar Phil Brader of Shmuel Hill says, Bar Nachmeni Keneged Yudches Eskar Sha'ama David V'Hoiva Hashem B'nei Elim. There's 18 times in the Perek Tehillim it says Hovul Hashem B'nei Elim. It says 18 times the Shem Hashem. Hashem's name is mentioned 18 times. That's why what's called. That's why in Shemoneh Esrei we have 18 brachas. It says 18 times in Shema the name of Hashem. You know why we say 18 brachas in Shemoneh Esrei? Connected the 18 vertebrae in a person's spine. V'amar of Tanchum, in the same of Tanchum said, Amar Shua ben Levi, hamispal sarach sheyichra shispaku chachul shebeshidra. How much did you bend down when you have to bow down in Shemoneh Esrei? Enough that all 18 of your spinal vertebrae pop out. You can see them. That's what they explain. So in other words, the Mefarshim explain, the Achronim explain that since all mitzvahs you do with your body, you shake lulav, you use your arms, you go to shul using your legs, you're thinking using your head, what do you use your torso for? So for Shemoneh Esrei, they made 18 brachas for your 18 spinal vertebrae that they also should be included in bowing down, in shockling, whatever it is, standing up. It says the gemorah. Now I know you're all saying to yourself, there aren't 18 vertebrae, there's 19. Well, the truth is that you got the C1 to C7, which is in your neck, right? And then you've got the T's, T1 to T12. So you've got basically 12 and 7 is 19. So why does it say there's 18? Well, first of all, if you notice, you can't pop out the top one or two when you bow down. We're going to see in a second. The Gemara is going to address it. It's a good question. If that's what was bothering you, good question. It says the Gemara, how much should you bow down? That if there's a coin on your heart, you should bow down, you can see it. The implication is you're bowing your neck. In other words, to see the top of your chest, you have to move your neck. It doesn't really help too much to move your body. Others say what it means is you should bow your body down, that you create a fold in your skin that kind of looks like the size of an Isar. That's how they understand it. Reb Chaim Amar. Reb Chaim says, you bow down a little bit your head, don't do more than that. And Taisha says, although Rishonim say, why shouldn't you do more than that? Because it looks like gaiva. If you bow down too much, see guys bowing down, it's haughty. Why is it haughty? Because what you're basically saying is, I've done enough, I've bowed down enough, I'm good. It's better to show you that you've got to bow down, but how much can you bow down? You can never bow down enough, right? So, Amarava, that's only good if it's hard for you, if it's difficult. Some say it's talking about if someone's old, you can bow down a little bit, but bow your head. Others say it means that you should look like it's a challenge, like, Hani Tamni Yisrei Tishri Havin. These 18 brachas, it's really 19. Omar Belevi, huh? Okay, we'll finish one more line. They were massacring the last bracha in Yavne. Keneged mit teknu Amar Levi Vilhel B'Yishmael Baracheni keneged Kela Kovadim keneged that pasuk. All of Yosef keneged Echad Sheb'Kriyishma Kriyishma. It's keneged the word Echad. Reb Chaim Amar Yeshua ben Levi keneged Chulya K'tana Sheb'Shidra. So if it's going keneged the 18 vertebrae, so the top vertebrae isn't really a vertebrae. It's just like a ring, and the second, the C2, as like a little bit that sticks into the vertebrae that the head can rotate on. It's not a full vertebrae, and that's a small vertebrae, and that's why you got the 19 brachas, keneged those 19 vertebrae. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.